Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone. Today I will explanation about my infographic from analysis the article that called Urgent Air Freight from Ireland to Canada. Okay, before going to the material, let me introduce myself first. My name is Elok Dwi Jayanti from 3C English for Business Communication and Professional. And now let's move to the material. Okay, today I will sharing a real-world case study on air freight logistics, specifically focusing on urgent shipment from Ireland to Canada. This is a great example of how fast and strategic air cargo solution can prevent major disruption in business operation. Okay, first is where did this take place? The shipment started off in Ireland and it needed to get all the way to Canada. Now, in a situation like this, sea freight would usually be cheaper but way too slow. And in this case, speed was everything, so they went with air freight because it's fast, flexible, and perfect when you're racing against the clock. And the second is when did this happen? The article doesn't say exactly when, but from the context, we can guess it was around 2022 to 2023 when the world still trying to fix supply chain issues after COVID. There were delays everywhere and shipping things across the world wasn't as easy as it used to be. That made things even more stressful for companies trying to avoid disruption. And what's the problem? Okay, so here are the issues. A major production facility in Canada was about to hit a big problem. They were missing some critical parts that were supposed to come from Ireland. If those parts didn't show up on time, the whole production line could shut down, which, as you can imagine, is really expensive, both in terms of lost time and money. And to make things worse, there was zero margin for error, the deadline was super tight. The second is the goods were sensitive and needed to be handled with care. And the last is getting things through. Custom can always be tricky, especially when speed matters. So, yeah, that's what not your average delivery. It was a full-on wage against time. And how they did fix it. This is where TCB Group came in and handled it like pros. They took care of the entire process from start to finish. The first is they arranged pickup right from the supplier in Ireland so they have full control from the start. The second is they made sure the shipment got on the fastest flight available, no delays and no waiting around. And the third is when the goods landed in Canada, they handled custom quickly and efficiently, no paperwork headache and clearance delays. And finally, they got it delivered directly to the production site right on time. Because of their planning and execution, the company avoided a full shutdown and kept everything running smoothly. That's a pretty big win, right? So, what's the key here? I think this case shows just how powerful air freight can be, especially when you're dealing with time-sensitive shipments. It's not just about moving stuff from A to B, but it's about protecting business from serious losses, keeping supply chains flowing, and making sure that critical operation don't stop. And it also shows how important it is to have right logistic partner, someone who can jump into a low situation and figure out it fast. And alright, that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening. Hope it gave you a better picture of how this kind of urgent shipment work in life. And see you on next time. Bye bye. Alright, that's all for me. Thank you so much for listening. Hope it gave you a better picture of how these kinds of urgent shipment work in life. See you on next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.